How do you like Sarajevo, my friends? Do you enjoy it? Would you like to live here? Would you consider it too risky to live in Bosnia? People are certainly nice. I like them. Not so sure about the fault lines. And I mean both tectonically, the place which is the center of European earthquakes, and both politically, a place which has very high risk of becoming a place where some proxy war will be fought between bigger powers, and the cost will be blood of these beautiful dear people who live here, who has no fault at all at these all things which the bigger guys are playing, why the wars are happening. Like today, when there's war in Ukraine, do you think Ukrainians are at fault? Probably we could think a lot of thoughts. Who is fighting with whom? Is it NATO and America against Russia, or is it NATO and America against China? But in any scenario, Ukraine is just a place to be demolished while the big guys are fighting. And unfortunately, this wonderful place with wonderful people runs the same risk, but hopefully it never happens. Monument to the victims of the Sarajevo assassination. Is this the place where the Archduke Ferdinand was killed and the First World War erupted as a result? Well, it sparked the whole thing. Is this his car? I saw in some documentary, I think, that the Archduke was driving a car which was very similar like this. He was driven in such a car when he was killed. Could it be here? So it was here actually. You can have such a thing even if you have internet, unlike me here. Sarajevski attentat, the assassination story in Sarajevo. Yeah. You know what's funny, my friends? Would you like to be driven around in this car? There was some price tag even. Well, there was a chap who was driven around in such a car, and in this place he got killed, and the First World War started. No. Let's give this car a miss. I don't want to get killed, and even less I want another world war to start. Although it's a good question if that Third World War is started already or not. Actually, what do you think, friends? Can we talk freely about these things, or these are things which we shouldn't be talking about? What do you think about Third World War? Is it the thing which started in 2014 in Ukraine and now got into much hotter phase? Or do you have this attitude that the Third World War is already finished? That the First World War was the massacre which started here when they killed that chap Ferdinand. The Second World War started when Hitler got the possibility to revenge of all the humiliation they got at the First World War, and the Third World War started almost immediately after the Second World War, which we usually called Cold War, and it ended with the fall of the Berlin Wall. And in that way, if we see the Cold War as the Third World War, in that case the Third World War is already finished in the beginning of 90s, end of 80s. And what's happening now in Ukraine, well, in Ukraine is the visible part of it, but it's a lot bigger story, of course, that what's happening now there is actually the Fourth World War, which has started. And God knows when and how it will end. I don't have too many hopes that it will be so soon. Let it happen soon. But logically it doesn't seem very realistic. A lot of blood has to be shed, unfortunately, for the big money printing guys to go away from the stage. If you'd like to hear more from me and support me in my ways, you're more than welcome to become my patron. Find the link to my Patreon page just under the description of my YouTube channel's About page.